welcome back to Sextras,
where we talk about sex and all the extras.
I'm Honey, and my fun fact is I literally drink pineapple juice like it is crack. I drink pineapple juice every day. I love it. I get through so much of it. And yeah, everyone always makes fun of me because I have so much pineapple juice all the time. So that's my fun fact.
Hello, I'm Maria, and I love breakfast foods. Even though I don't really eat in the morning, like I really never eat when I wake up. I'm never hungry. I have to wait at least like 2 hours or something to be hungry in the morning. But I love breakfast foods so much, especially Mexican breakfast foods.
That's so weird to me.
I
literally wake up and I'm like, if I don't eat right now, I'm gonna pass out. Like, I feel like faint.
Like the thought
sick.
of putting food in my mouth in the morning makes me feel sick, even though I smoke a ciggy every day when I wake up, which like that makes no sense. Like that is actually disgusting.
No, but if I have to wake up early to go to like a lecture or something, and I just only have time to make something, I always make coffee, and then I always regret it because I drink the coffee and like I feel more awake, but I feel super sick. It's like caffeine sickness, and I feel like I get like the shakes, and like I genuinely like feel the sick like rising in me.
Yeah, well, my parents tell me off for like not eating regularly or like in the morning and stuff like that because I have so many stomach issues, but I don't really think I have stomach issues. It's more like anxiety, you know?
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, if I only have
But
coffee,
I have so many
then I
stomach
get like
issues.
super bad. Like I get the shakes and I get like anxious.
Yeah.
Anyway, I feel like this is a really good segue into the theme of today's episode, which is self-love and body confidence. And we are going to talk a little bit about, we've talked a lot about relationships with other people, but now we're going to talk about your relationship with yourself and how that influences your relationships with other people, which we both have very strong feelings about, and we hope it'll be useful to anyone who's like struggling with loving themselves or feeling like they're inadequate in their relationship because they're not putting themselves first. And yeah, so we're just gonna go straight into it, and I think we want to start by saying what our own thoughts about self-love. So I guess it's obviously having like positive feelings about yourself and being able to live with yourself even if you're not like completely satisfied with every part. It's just like recognizing and accepting that you are like a human being that is always changing and always developing, and you don't have to be perfect to love yourself. It's like your worth doesn't come from just your appearance, but from all your other qualities too. Would you say that's accurate?
Yes, I would say that's accurate. I mean, to me, self-love is like accepting yourself and being happy with what you've got. And yeah, knowing it's your body and like you should love it because it's what like brings you here.
Yeah, so we started talking about this topic a week ago. I read this article, I think in the New York Times, the Modern Love section that they have. I really like that. I would recommend for people to check it out. But they also have a podcast. One of the articles I read, I'll try and link it in the description, is about loving yourself and how everyone's always saying, oh, well, you'll just find it within yourself. Like you'll unlock it and one day it will happen. I feel like the way people talk about self-love is kind of this airy fairy, like nebulous concept that is a solid thing that people can give advice on, but I think because it looks different for every person and because everyone has such different experiences with it, it's hard to like advise someone to do so. But clearly we are going to attempt to do that today.
How do you think that you sort of express self-love or have found a way to have love for yourself? if that makes sense.
Definitely something that I do is like skincare. I love skincare. And I know it sounds really like shallow, but I think when I take the time to just even like get ready in the morning and like have that conscious, even if it's like 5 minutes where I just wash my face and like put moisturizer on, that will make me feel like I've done something to be ready for my day. I feel like it's more about the ritual of getting ready and like preparing yourself and pampering, so to speak, yourself, rather than what the actual skincare means. Like, obviously you can buy all this skincare, but if you're not being conscious about why you do it for yourself and like not taking the time, like if you just like throw it on your face and you're like, oh well, that's self-love, that's not self-care, it's just doing it without being mindful. And like I think being mindful overall is something that I try to use to express self-love. So like if I'm feeling down, just take the time to do something that I really know that I want in that moment. Take a moment to acknowledge your thoughts and like acknowledge your body and how you're feeling, and be like, okay, well today I feel like this, I feel like kind of just low energy, I'm just gonna stay in bed, I don't care. And like not feeling shit about that or like guilty about that. Or if you're feeling super energetic, try and spend time with someone who like you know is gonna be on the same level as you.
I feel like I don't express self-love to myself in self-care, really. I'm just kind of thinking like, why do I do my skincare routine? Because I just don't want to have shitty skin. But it's not really out of like I want to pamper myself, or like it's not really out of, I don't know, I just don't do very many self-care things, I don't think. But I feel like I'm quite a slobby person, and that's why like it's just something I just don't particularly enjoy. So I feel like I show myself self-love more in what you were saying, like in the second half of what you said, how like listening to yourself, like allowing yourself to have down days, allowing myself to just stay in bed if I want to stay in bed, and all of those things. And then also I think I compliment myself a lot. Like sometimes it can come across as kind of self-conceited, I will put my hands up, but I feel like, I don't know, I think recognizing good things you're doing is always can always help. If you can call yourself out on the good stuff you're doing, not just all the shitty things, like, oh Maria, what you just said was like really smart. And then that will make me feel really good, you know, just acknowledge my intelligence. And then like just acknowledging good things about yourself, I think helps me a lot.
And I know that like a lot of people say this and it sounds super cheesy, but like living in the moment, I feel like is really important. Not just doing things to achieve something in future, like you do something in the moment to make yourself feel good in that moment. So like you said, you do your skincare because you don't want to have bad skin, but it's like, well, you can't, if you're like doing something in the present but expecting rewards in the future. Obviously, yeah, it's good to think about what's going to happen in future, but like that shouldn't be your main focus. Right now, why do I need this? Is it going to make me feel good? Well, then I'm going to do it. And then you get instant gratification. And I mean, that's obviously not like a brilliant way to live every part of your life. For example, don't just keep drinking because it's going to give you instant gratification, or like don't just keep buying shit tons of clothes because that's going to give you instant gratification. But just rituals. Yeah, for me, exercising and doing yoga, like yoga really makes me feel like aware, like at peace with my body and myself, rather than constantly being against it. And yeah, something that we both talked about is how do you reach a level where you can like be at peace with how you look without like wanting to cry every day or without feeling like that is the single most important thing in your life. Yeah, it's so difficult. We do want to do a whole episode on social media, but I'll just touch on it briefly, that in today's society, obviously everyone's always talking about how like social media creates unrealistic expectations, and yeah, it can do that, but it can also just be the culture that we live in. It's not just about social media, it's just about the expectations everyone has about like beauty and appearance and trying to hold yourself to those standards. We have both come a long way in terms of body image and just accepting how you look. I know my body changes depending on like if I do exercise or what kind of things I'm eating. But how do I like feel at peace with that is like just accepting that I do things that make my body strong, and I'd way rather be like strong and healthy than like forcing myself or like having these things in the back of my head that make me feel less than like what I am, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think it's a constant thing. I don't think it's very hard to reach a point in which every single day, every single time you look at the mirror, you are loving what you see. I feel like that's kind of hard to achieve, and I feel like it's okay to recognize that sometimes you will get down about it, but I think for the most part, a good little tip, I think something that has helped me is rather than like looking at the mirror and like squeezing my fat rolls and being like, oh, I just wish I was skinnier and I wish that I looked like this or looked like that. Like realistically, I'm thinking that because I'm not like the clothes I'm wearing. I'm stuck on this idea of like, I want to wear these kinds of clothes or like I want to look this kind of way. And if I can't achieve that, then I failed. When you can look very, very good in other clothes, or if you just, instead of getting stuck on this idea of, oh, I have to wear those clothes and look like that girl, it's more like, okay, well, this is the body that I have. What can I do with the body that I have that does not look like this super skinny girl to make it look as good as it can? So whether that is exercise or eating certain foods or wearing certain clothes, like for instance, I'm not very self-disciplined and I can like sit and cry about my body all I want, but that's not going to make me go to the gym. Like it just isn't. And I know it's not. So that's another thing with like pairing body image and your personality in terms of self-love. Like I know I'm not a very disciplined person. Yeah, I might not like that about myself. I might wish that I was a disciplined person and then I could go to the gym and then fix my body too. But it's more like I accept I am not a self-disciplined person. So what can I do? Maybe instead of trying to work on getting the perfect body, I can work on liking the one that I have enough to be fine with the fact that I'm not self-disciplined enough to go to the gym. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think it's like in your whole life, your body is going to change countless times. Like we're women, most likely both of us are going to have kids. I know we both want kids, not to say that everyone does, but you're going to go through different stages of your period. You're going to go through giving birth. Your body's going to change so much. You're going to go through menopause. You're going to grow older. So I feel like the fact that your body changes is not the problem, and you're not trying to fix the fact that your body changes. You have to fix your mindset in the same way as knowing, oh, I'm not, like you were saying, I'm not a self-disciplined person. I can accept that. Oh, well, my body isn't perfect, so I can accept that too. And I just have to, work with what I've got and like find ways to express who you are in the moment. Because in the end, if you're always trying to work towards being like a perfect being, you're always going to just let yourself down. And it's just not a fun way to live your life. Like you're going to look back at how you look now when you're like 30 and be like, wow, that was amazing. You're going to look back at how you were when you're 30, when you're like 50 and be like, oh, what a time in my life. And like, ultimately you're not going to care about your weight. You're just going to see, this is how I felt in the moment, and like, oh, I'm so glad I felt able to express myself in this way regardless of whatever else is going on in your life. And so yesterday we were talking about clothing and like how we express ourselves through clothing, and we were just talking about how ridiculous the notion of clothes sizes are, because I know in myself I have always been like a size 10 or like a bit below or a bit above. I know how much my waist measures, and like I buy a lot of clothes online. So if I buy something that says it's my measurement and it comes and it doesn't fit me, either because maybe I've like put on a bit of weight, or like maybe because the clothing company just hasn't measured it properly, or maybe because it just like fits differently because different stores have different sizes, I will start to like beat myself up about it and be like, well, no, I'm a size 10. This can't be, like, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it's literally just a number. Why does it matter? And like, if I go to buy something on a website that has like small, medium or large and like a 10 isn't a small, I'll be like, well, why? I have to buy a small. I have to buy a small anyway. Why does it matter? Like, those words and those numbers don't mean anything.
Yeah.
You're buying clothes so that you can look good in them, not so that you can look good out of the clothes and like feel good out of the clothes. Obviously, yeah, it all plays a part in like the bigger picture, but why spend like 100 quid on clothes to make yourself look good in those clothes if you're not even going to look good in them because you're like forcing yourself to look good in clothes that don't fit you? What is the point? You will look so much better if you just buy the size that you actually are and wear it with confidence.
100% for me. I lost so much weight like when I was around 16, I don't know, and I was super skinny for like 2 years, unhealthily skinny, and like at the time I didn't think that. I always like made jokes like, oh, like I can't even buy like the smallest size at the shop because like I'm so tiny. Now looking back, I'm just kind of like, I recognize that I was unhealthily skinny, and then now I have all these clothes from that period. Like literally most of my clothes are from when I was like 2 sizes smaller. And I just had all these clothes that every time that I put them on, I literally just wanted to die because they were so tight and just didn't fit me, made it like, were so unflattering. Actually, I still have these clothes. I don't really know why I'm talking in the past tense, but and I think I didn't want to throw them out, and I kept insisting to myself, no, like, it's fine, I will lose the weight again, and then fit back into those clothes. Like, I can't throw them away, I can't. Only really recently I've started to realize how toxic that is, because I don't want to be that skinny again. I wasn't healthy. And why am I holding on to all of these clothes that are making me feel like shit when I can just go buy new ones? Well, I mean, I'm not saying like... when I could just get new...
that money out on those clothes.
When I can just go get new clothes that I can put on and my body looks the way it's meant to look. It doesn't look completely compressed down by clothes that just clearly are not going to fit me. And I can feel so much better. Like, surely I will just be so much happier if you're wearing clothes that actually fit you.
Yeah, and actually reflect what you are and how you feel. But I was talking to my boyfriend the other day because he was saying, like, I just do not understand why celebrities feel the need to spend like thousands of pounds on like one item of clothing. He was like, I just have no respect for that. And personally, I love clothes and I will always justify spending money on clothes if I know for sure that I really want those clothes. So I was like trying to trying to debate with him that topic and be like, oh, well, you know, everyone has different ways of expressing themselves and everyone has a thing that they will make an exception for money on. So like for some people it's like coffee, for some people it's food, for some people it's clothes, for some people it's cars, like, yeah. But in the end, if you're just buying something because of like a number, because of the size, because of the price, to like show yourself off as that number, which doesn't even mean anything, then what is the point? What does that mean to you? Like, I'm not just gonna buy a Louis Vuitton bag because it costs like however much it costs and I want to like flex to everyone that I bought this bag and that I'm that rich. No, unless that really means something to you. What does the bag, like, how does that help you express yourself other than you're rich? Because that's not a personality trait. It's just not. It's just a number. It's literally all it is. For me, yeah, you should separate your self-worth from your appearance, but you can also use your appearance to like express how you feel inside. It doesn't have to be like they're completely detached. Like, you use one to like I want to reflect how I feel, so I'm gonna wear clothes that make me look how I feel, and then that will reflect to the world who I am, rather than they just, maybe some people will look at me and be like, wow, that girl is like so beautiful, and others won't, because appearance is like subjective to everyone. Not saying there isn't a standard of beauty, but I would much rather like take the time in the morning to really think about like, oh, this is what I want to wear today, because like I want to look like a marshmallow today, or I want to look like I just dressed up in like my school clothes from when I was 4 years old. You know, it sounds so ridiculous, but I want to take the time to like look in the mirror, be like, oh, this is who I am today. I feel really like at one with my body and my mind, and so I'm gonna wear this outfit that reflects how I feel, and then that will make me feel even better because I look how I feel on the inside, and it's all connected and it's all just like one thing. And like I think you can really use clothes, not the size of clothes, but the clothes that you buy, to make yourself feel more like yourself. Like, don't just be buying stuff because that's a trend at the moment. I mean, if that trend makes you feel like yourself, then yeah, of course, that's completely fine. But don't do it just because someone's telling you, oh, this is what looks good, or because you see loads of girls on Instagram or whatever, wherever it is that you see people wearing like that one piece of the summer that everyone always has. Like last summer, it was that stupid like polka dot dress that everyone had. Like, how does that make you feel like yourself?
I don't know, but I'm of the opinion that if you, I don't know, let's say you don't know that much about clothes or fashion or whatever, and you're in the mindset of, I feel shitty about my body, but maybe if I just like start dressing nicely or well, that will make me feel better, and you don't really know where to start. I also think that like, going on Instagram and looking at what the trends are and what everyone's wearing, like that could help you out a lot. I'm talking more in terms of like people that maybe you're kind of dipping your toe into fashion, or you want to make fashion or clothing, use it as a vehicle to gain like more self-love, as in to feel better about your body and yourself. And I mean, I think like there's a good resources, and I don't think you have to feel bad about following the trend, but I do see what you're saying about dressing from within or whatever. I don't want to sound like really cheesy, but as in like kind of going more with what you feel rather than what you think is cool, quote unquote. That can help a lot for sure.
I'm not saying like people can't use Instagram or like draw inspiration from people, because like I do that all the time. I'm not saying that that's not what I do. Like sometimes I watch a movie and I'm like, I love the colours that person's wearing, I want to wear those colours and see how that makes me feel. But it's more about the journey to finding out what you want, rather than that is like the final say and that is what you stick with.
Yeah, and I mean also, if there are people that, because I know that there are people that don't really care about clothes, and I don't think that they think that it's really says much about you. Like to some people, clothes are literally just the thing you put on in the morning to go out into the world, which that's completely fine. But then I feel like, I mean, I don't think that you're going to find that much self-love and gratification from clothes, so you don't stress about it. I don't know, I just feel like I don't want to make anyone feel like, oh, you really have to start thinking about what you're wearing and how you're dressing, otherwise you're never going to find any self-love.
And like, I'm just saying, for me, like that is how I like to express myself. And so like everyone has their own thing, everyone has a way of expressing themselves, but I'm saying personally, that's what's helped me find who I am and be able to express who I am, and maybe other people will find that too if they stop placing so much importance on like fitting in with the trends or with looking like conventionally good, because I think it is so much more valuable to be able to like take a trend and then put your own spin on it, and you will feel so much better about yourself. Like, yeah, I did this. I didn't just copy this off Instagram. Like, I really like put this outfit together, and it's like an expression of my creativity, or like whatever. It can be any of those things. So I think that's kind of fun.
I think also in terms of like putting your own spin on it or whatever, because I feel like there are a lot of times that I'll see an outfit or like a fashion trend that's going on or whatever, and I just know that it's not going to look like that on my body, and I know that it's going to make me feel like shit, because I'm like, oh my god, but it's so cute, like I want to wear that, but it just doesn't look nice on my body. And I think that's another thing with like putting your own twist on it is more like, okay, right, that exact thing isn't going to look great on my body type, but that doesn't diminish me at all. It doesn't make me worse than that girl that can pull it off. It just means I have to see how I'm going to make it my own, as in like how I'm going to make it fit my body. Not everyone looks the same, which is a great thing. In terms of being able to be more confident in your body and in the clothes you wear and stuff, I think the first step is really getting to know your body. Like, point out that like insecurity. Maybe be like, oh, I don't really like my boobs because they just spill out of every fucking top that I ever wear. And then it's like, okay, well, now I know this, rather than be hating on my boobs because they're too big or like too bulgy or whatever. I don't fucking know. I don't relate to this problem, but like rather than beating yourself up about that and trying to shove your boobs into tops, why don't you just acknowledge like acknowledge the thing that you don't like, and then be like, okay, well, how can I go around this in a way that will make me embrace it a little more, or like the way it looks a little more. So I think being self-aware and really like kind of understanding your body, getting to know your body will definitely, at least I think it has helped me for sure in terms of feeling good about my naked body or my body in clothes, because I mean I haven't always been like that, and I think it's hard also if your weight fluctuates a lot. It's really hard to accept those things, but that's why you also have to keep checking in with yourself. How you were saying at the very start, your body's always changing, and that doesn't make it wrong. It just means you have to keep updating yourself, like getting to know yourself. And I think like
self-love, it doesn't mean like you're just gonna find complete harmonious self-love right now when you're like 20. No, you're not. Like, it's gonna be a continuous journey, and it's gonna make it easier if you do that journey bit by bit every day, do a tiny bit, rather than you get to like the end of your 20s and you're like, I'm just like miserable and I hate how I look. Hopefully no one does that, but like I'd way rather spend the time now and put the time in day by day, living in the present, to have a happier future and like a happier present in the future, if that makes sense. I think the same goes as well for personality, not just appearance.
I mean, we've just said all of this stuff about appearance, but at the same time, I do want to point out that like physical appearance doesn't make up your worth. As in, like, you're made up of so many other things, not just your body and not just the way you look. It's such a small portion if you really think about it. Imagine, like, think of all the different facets of yourself and your personality. And I think we put so much emphasis on physical appearance when we should just stop moving away from it. Like, there's so much more to a person. And I am, like,
personally so much more charmed by personality than by appearance. Like, I think I can find someone's personality attractive and then grow to find someone attractive rather than the other way around.
Yeah, I think so many people can like that.
No, I think everyone has the ability.
The amount of times I've heard people being like, the amount of times I've heard people be like, oh yeah, I didn't find him fit, but then I got to know him, and like his personality, like I just found him more attractive the more I got to know him. And I think that's true about literally like pretty much everyone I meet. Like, the more you get to know someone, the more attractive you find them, or the less attractive, depends like what way.
Okay, so like what happens then if you have something in your personality that you really don't like about yourself? Because it's not just something you can just change by like buying new clothes. It's something you really have to like sit down and think about. So like how do you like personally deal with that?
I don't know. I find it so much harder than even like body positivity, and like that's coming from someone that had an eating disorder, so like that's saying a lot. But I don't know, I really struggle with it. I don't know, like everyone has traits that they just don't like about themselves. Like I know that I talk too much sometimes, and I like overshare a lot, and I know that some people find that really jarring. But I think a big part of it is it's just not really caring what people think that much, which I don't really know how to really get there. But yeah, I don't know. I think I've started to care so much less about what people think about me, and therefore like the criticism that hits me the most is kind of myself, because I don't know, at the end of the day, I don't really care if someone thinks that I talk too much and I'm too loud or whatever. If I didn't find that, let's say I had a conversation and my experience of it was that I was just a delightful human being, and then they turn to me and they're like, you literally did not stop talking, it was so irritating. And like, it could sting, you know. I'm not going to say like there's not that initial sting of getting criticism, but I think if you can step back, like step away from the situation and look at it and be like, wow, was I talking too much? Do I think this is a problem? Like, really, like, check in, as I was saying before, like, check in with yourself. Is it something that's bothering you, like, personally in yourself, or is it something that is causing a problem for other people? Because I think those are two very different things. Like, if you don't think, if it's not affecting you negatively, if you don't think it's a negative trait or even something you have to change, then it's like, okay, well, that's a them problem. I don't give a fuck what you think. But if it's something that is kind of affecting you and making you think differently about yourself, then that can be something that you're like, okay, so how am I going to change that? Maybe I have to be a little bit more conscious of the amount of talking that I do and stuff like that. But I do think it is really hard to change personality traits or like things about yourself.
Well, then maybe self-love is like being able to accept and grow and change from criticism from yourself and criticism from other people. Like, maybe that is what it is, rather than some higher existence and like plane of some like near perfect being. Like, maybe it is just being able to know, oh, well, I kind of fucked up today, but what am I going to do to come back from it? Or I find myself really annoying because I know I can be a grumpy bitch, but what am I going to do about that? And like, I think it's difficult, and I want to bring it back a bit because like, obviously we are a sex and relationships podcast. Like, I think it's really hard in relationships because all of these features and like personality traits are heightened because you're constantly being experienced with someone else there. So like, yeah, obviously all your positive personality traits will be enhanced, but that also means you have to like face the parts of yourself that you don't really like as much. So if you're insecure about, I don't know, like, yeah, like talking too much, that's something that is like brought out even more because you're like constantly having someone to talk to. Or I don't like that I can be really harsh or like grumpy, and that is something that like is even more heightened and I feel even more depressed by because I'm always with someone to take my grumpiness and anger out on. And like, I think being able to like recognize those things in yourself and be like, okay, well, this is something that I can work on and it's not just suddenly going to become perfect. Like, that is self-love. And like, I think if you can find a balance between all your really positive traits, for example, I know I can be like a really good friend, and I know I can be a really good girlfriend, and I can be caring, and I can look after people. I also know I'm really smart. So like, all those things, I can take them and be like, I like all these things about myself. And yeah, there's like some setbacks, but how can I use my positive traits to outweigh my negative traits, or to like diminish my negative traits? And like, how can I use my communication?
Use your strengths.
Yeah, and I think...
Yeah, use your strengths to your advantage to sort of like balance out the shitty things as well.
And like, I think you can... everyone is like so amazing. Everyone has their own lives. Everyone has unique things that happen in their lives, and they are the only ones that will find the solution to get through it. Like, no matter how many people help you along the way, in the end, it's you that like used yourself and your inner courage and like all your traits and all your values to get yourself through it. And you can look at so many things that have happened in your life, like, oh, I did A-levels, I completed A-levels, I'm so amazing for being able to do that. Really just like pat yourself on the back, because like you get through so many small victories every day, even if it's like, oh, I got out of bed today, like, good job me. I'm the only one that could have gotten me through that. And like, yeah, it might be annoying to other people, and yeah, that they might like despise me for that, but in the end, like, who are you always gonna have with you? You. So you really need to take that with you.
Love yourself. Be kind to yourself. This is what I was saying at the start about, like, I feel like my self-love is just complimenting myself on the good things I do.
Yeah, but I feel like that's so good. I'm so glad that you do that. I wish everyone did that more. Like, I feel like I always see people that I love so much talking down about themselves. And like, obviously I know I'm guilty of that too, but I'm like, it like makes me sad to know that people do that. I'd way rather see people do that.
It makes me so
as
sad
much with like their positive traits.
I think it's so crazy how, like, yeah, you can hear like your best friend or something talking about like really negatively about themselves, and you're like, oh my god, that's so sad, because you're just like, it's just don't see it. And it's like, why can't we just be that kind to ourselves?
That's actually a really good point. So what do you do if you can't see your positive traits? Like, how do you find yourself, so to speak? How would you go about doing that? Like, what would you say is good advice?
Well, I think good advice in general is always surrounding yourself with people that are going to make you happy. I mean, if you are around people that are constantly criticizing you, constantly talking down to you, constantly judging you, or not even you, like if they're just constantly judging other people and just have a perception of yourself, like without even realizing. And I feel like you don't even realize when you're in that until you step away and like you hang out with someone normal for a few hours, and then you're like, oh wait, but like, I didn't feel like shit that entire time. Is this what like a normal friendship is meant to be like? And so I think it's hard. Of course, I completely sympathize with how it's difficult, especially when you're at school, and it's hard to really be able to like pick and choose your friendship group, like curate a perfect friendship group. Do you know what I mean? I'm not expecting that to happen, but I think as much as you can, surround yourself with people that are making you feel good rather than shit. And that will make you used to having those behaviors towards yourself.
Yeah, that's true. And I think like, even if you don't know things that you enjoy, yeah, maybe you only have a couple of friends and you know they're like positive traits, but you want to find more friends, or you want to like broaden your horizons. You take one of those things, for example, I love to talk to my friend about politics. Well, what can I do about that? I can go put myself in a situation where everyone there also loves talking about politics, and then I'll meet more people, and it will like be so enhancing for your like inner being. You go to a politics society, or you even join an online community, or follow Instagram accounts where they talk about politics and where you can learn more, and then you're enriching yourself and you're meeting new people. Or I love learning about clothes, I love learning about social justice, and I love learning about how we can like help the planet. What am I gonna do about that? I'm gonna talk to my friends about it. Maybe they don't like talking about it. Well, then I'm gonna read stuff. I'm gonna find stuff where I can be myself with myself, and where I can be myself with other people. Because like personally, I'm like an introvert, so things that work for me aren't going to work the same for an extrovert. So an extrovert might, I don't know, because I'm not an extrovert, but they might feel more themselves around other people. Whereas, so then maybe they'll use their traits like, oh, I love spending time with people, I love talking to people about food or cinema or whatever it is. Well, then I'm going to go like be myself around other people. Whereas introverts, you can be more yourself around enriching yourself at home, or like taking the time to like be introspective. Not that extroverts can't be introspective too, but like, yeah, I think it's just being able to take your circumstances, get to know Like, am I an introvert or an extrovert? Use that to like broaden your horizons and make connections with people who feel the same way about things that you like. And then you'll just feel more enriched.
Yeah, I mean, the more you get to know yourself as well, the more you can sort of chase things that you know are going to make you happy. And I think that in itself is a form of self-love, just getting to know yourself to a point that you can make more informed decisions about your own life. You will be making decisions towards happiness and away from feeling shit. And then you can chase, as you were saying, like surround yourself with people that like the same thing, so you can chase your interests. And then in doing that, you will also start noticing what your good traits are.
Yeah.
Because I think, because you were saying, if you can't see you were asking if you can't see your good traits,
yeah,
how can we, like, what advice would you give to be able to recognize it? I think a good way is to find something that you enjoy, like something you're passionate about, and from there, like, really investigate, okay, well, what have I done surrounding this thing? Let's say it's like skateboarding or something like that. And then it's like, yeah, I love skateboarding. I learned this trick the other day. That's a good thing about yourself.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I did that. I learned that trick.
Yeah.
And even if it's small things like that, as long as you can recognize it, and it's not like you have to be saying it out loud or writing it down or anything, even though I think writing good things about yourself down really helps.
Yeah.
It makes you feel really good.
For
but
sure.
like, I'm not saying you have to like say it out loud and write it down or whatever. It's literally just notice it, just noticing it.
Yeah. And I think because I'm really conscious that the advice we're giving is like for people who do already know some stuff about themselves. But like, I read stuff all the time where people are like, I literally just feel like I don't know myself at all. But then you have the whole world to explore. So my advice would be to just like try loads of different things out. Like, you can look at so many things and be like, wow, that sounds like a bit appealing to me. Maybe I'll try that out. If you don't like it, it's not the end of the world. And it's like, that can work even if you know yourself and even if you don't know yourself. So everything is like the footnotes to a book, or like the references to a book. Like, you read the book, say the book is like, I'm just using the book as a metaphor, like say the book is like cooking. You cook, but then what else can you do? You can read books about cooking, you can watch shows about cooking, you can talk to other people about cooking, you can go to restaurants, and all those things are like the footnotes of the book itself. You have the book, that's the main thing. You have all the other things that can come from that. And I think that's the beauty of like having so many options in the world we live in today. And you don't even have to have money to do all these things. That's just a whole other thing. You can experience so many things for free or for very little money if that's what you want to do. So I would just encourage people to like live your life. You're not going to get to know yourself just sitting at home and like feeling sorry for yourself. Even if you sit at home and like watch documentaries or like watch TV, at least you're like learning whether you like those things that you're watching or not. A lesson can be taken from everything.
It sounds like we really think that a big part of self-love is like chasing your interests, which I'd never really thought about before, but I think, yeah, I mean, it's kind of obvious, but I'd literally never thought about it before, that self-love is just doing something you enjoy, for instance. It's as simple as that. And you will find so much happiness from it, I think. And I think also, this is my biggest piece of advice, this is my life motto, fake it till you make it. Like, if you're not very confident about your body, just fake it. Literally, just pretend like you look like a model.
This is literally what I do. Like a model.
Yeah. No, but okay. This is how you implement this advice. Okay. So I was going on holiday with my my boyfriend's family and his siblings, and like his siblings were bringing friends and stuff. And I mean, I'm 20 and they're like younger people, and I still was like, so like overthinking so much how I'm gonna have to be in a bikini all day, and how like, oh, but I'm just so embarrassed about my body, whatever. Like, I started thinking these things, and then when I got there, I just like put my bikini on. Literally, you just pretend like your body is incredible, and then you will just stop caring. Like, and that will look so much better to other people. Confidence and all of that shit is so attractive to other people, and it just makes you look like you're together. Even if like in my mind I'm just like living this delusion of like, oh my God, my body is like the most beautiful thing that anyone has ever laid eyes on. And it is. But but like that just made me feel like I didn't have to be hiding my body and embarrassed, and I can just sit and like all my rolls can be showing, and who cares?
Yeah.
Because I'm faking it and I'm making it, baby.
Yeah, and I think that's the amazing thing about appearance as well. It's like, yeah, it can be a direct reflection of how you're feeling on the inside, but it doesn't have to be that. It's literally a blank slate for you to use. Like, some days I feel like I just want to blend in and I want to wear all black, but you know what? Maybe today I'm going to wear red and pink and I'm going to look like a candy cane. And that's not going to make me feel like worse about myself. That's going to make me feel amazing, because then I'm like not reflecting and like indulging in what I feel on the inside. I'm like pretending I feel positive and putting it on my body. And maybe that will make me feel positive because I'm faking it till I make it.
Yeah, it's just a great way to feel more confident about things, and even things that you're insecure about. Just no, what you talk too much? No, you don't. No, you don't. What do you mean? No, I don't.
Yeah, and we're not saying like use fake it till you make it to like deceive people.
No, yes, we are. We're saying use it in every aspect.
Yeah,
of
no,
your life,
you can use it for positive things, but like don't use it to like deceive people into being something that you never are or never will become. For example, pretending you're from like a completely different country and a completely different like socioeconomic class just because
think that
what
you're
you
Australian want. And then one day you will be Australian.
Yeah, like obviously it has to be realistic, but we're saying manifest things that you really want to come to you in your life, not like things that are just never gonna happen.
I mean it more in terms of, I think we mean it more in terms of like confidence.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just want to tell this story of, basically I said this thing to Honey when I was very drunk one time. And I just go, Honey, my biggest piece of advice is I think I'm sexy and then I am sexy. And like literally it sounds so stupid, but it's so fucking true. And then I just remembered like this one girl asked me at the beginning of uni like how I'm like so confident with guys and how I just like get so many guys or whatever. And it is literally just because I think I'm sexy and then I am sexy. Like literally.
Yeah. And if you think about like what a sexy person is, like there's no concrete thing. It's more like an illusion. So you literally, it's like you just fake the aura, put that out into the world, and then people will sense it and be like, wow, that girl is so sexy.
But it works. It
does
works
work
so well.
Yeah, no, but I was gonna say is that I watch this YouTuber who is kind of wacky. The channel name is The Purple Palace. And she always talks, she's an artist, she's American, but she moved to Paris. She talks about manifesting stuff, which is kind of like tied into what we're talking about, and she really takes it seriously, but it like works out for her. But she was saying when she moved to Paris, she could barely speak French. She didn't know anyone. She went to art school. She walked in and she had it in her head like, oh, all these people are gonna hate me. They're gonna think I'm annoying because I'm American and they're French and they're not gonna like me, blah 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 blah, and I can't even speak the language. But when she walked in, she was like, oh, I'm just gonna play this game with myself that like everyone here already loves me. Everyone here is my best friend. And that made her relax, and that made other people feel at ease, and it meant that she could just like blend in and make friends and feel like comfortable. And like you can just do that in life, like just pretend everyone's your best friend. Like if you're feeling really anxious, you walk in somewhere and you're like, oh fuck, but then you just take all of that, externalize it, and be like, this person is my best friend. Like I'm just gonna treat them like we're best friends and we're having the best time. Like why not?
And I mean, at the end of the day, what's holding you back from even doing that? Because I'm just kind of thinking, okay, but like, what if I'm too awkward or shy to fake it till I make it. I completely get that. But where that comes from is literally just you're scared that other people are going to be like, oh, what is she doing? Like, why is she being so weird? And like, it's literally just coming out of people thinking that people are going to judge you. But so what? Like, have you ever stopped to think about that? Like, okay, what? So these random strangers that I just met think that I'm really strange because I'm being really outward. I'm oversharing a lot and pretending like they're my best friend, blah, blah, blah. As if they're gonna think that. Like, you are just gonna end up having a way better time than if you just, like, sat in the corner being all shy. Not that there's anything wrong with shy people at all.
Yeah.
Like, if you're shy,
you might
fair
never
enough.
see those people ever again. Like, might as well. Life is literally just a game. Like, you just have to play with yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, not in, like... yeah. But, like, yeah, why not that too? But, like... like, just play games with yourself. Play games with other people. It's fun. And, like... why not? You never know what you're gonna get from it. Like, say, why would, like, if we had never started this podcast, we're like, oh, there's my friend's friend thinks it's cringe that we're starting this podcast. I don't give a shit. Like, I'm not gonna not do this thing that, like, I really enjoy and that I'm passionate about because, oh, this person doesn't like it, or because I might look back in, like, 20 years and be like, oh, that was embarrassing. Like, I want the gratification right now. And, like, yeah, not to say...
That's self-love. Self-love is being like, yeah, people are judging me and so fucking what? This makes me happy, so I'm gonna do it. That's, like, the biggest fuck you to everyone else. If you're just gonna do it and be happy with yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I want to have a little side note in just saying, like, yes, all the things and all the tips that we've just given are extremely important. We're not negating that there are very real things in life that can limit you from achieving things, such as you don't have equal opportunities to other people, or you don't have, because systemic racism is a thing, or because sexism is a thing. Like, obviously, all these things are very real, but you can take your situation and build from it, and, like, at least you will know you have tried despite what everyone else thinks of you. And I think that's just, like, the most important thing, really.
Yes.
But maybe we should just finish off by saying a little bit about self-love and why that's important in your relationships with other people, because I am very, like, conscious of the fact that we're a relationships podcast, and, like, obviously this is about your relationship with yourself, but I also want to talk about how that can impact your relationships with even just your family and friends, but also your romantic partners. So I think, like, obviously everyone says you can't be loved by someone else until you love yourself, and I don't think that's true. But I think if you're in a relationship with someone and you don't love yourself, you're going to build up all these expectations of other people and, like, think that it's their responsibility to make sure that you love yourself. But that's not going to help you get anywhere. Firstly, it's going to make them feel under pressure and they're going to feel horrible about it. But it also means that, like, you're just never going to be satisfied, and people can be feeding you all these compliments all the time. And yeah, compliments are nice, but there has to be a certain point where just getting compliments from other people isn't enough, and, like, sometimes you don't feel it. And if you can recognize, oh, I don't feel, like, the love someone's giving me, maybe you have to, like, give yourself love first in order for you to, like, fully experience everything else that is, like, being thrown at you from other people. And
yeah,
you just have to really understand it's not other people's job to make you love yourself. Yeah, it's lovely to have other people love you, and that can help you achieve self-love, and people can make you see the positive things about yourself, but it's not their responsibility, and you should never expect that from them. And I think that's something people fall into.
I do think that to be in a healthy, happy relationship, you do have to have some sort of basis of self-love and happiness within yourself, because like, I'm just thinking of my own relationship, like, I'm not going to dive too deep, but I think, like, a lot of the problems that even emerge it's not even a conflict between me and my boyfriend. It's literally all coming from insecurities within myself of, like, I don't know, I just, like, start lashing out at him because I'm scared that he's not going to love me or that he's not going to like me as much as I like him. And it comes a lot from insecurity, and that just comes from not enough self-love. And obviously I've still got I'm not like sitting here pretending like I am the most like in love with myself person in the world. I'm not completely happy with the person that I am, but I am working towards it. And I do recognize that in relationships especially, it is really important to love yourself. Like, you can't, as you were saying, you can't expect someone to fill all the love gaps for you. You have to fill them in yourself too.
Yeah, and then those people enhance your life. They're not bringing the only happiness in your life to your life. Yeah. They're just adding to it.
Yeah, and then that leads to so much codependence if you do lack a lot of self-love, and codependence is not cute. I mean, coming from the biggest codependent in the world.
But that's what's important, is that we are not experts and we are going to be learning to love ourselves for the rest of our lives. But we want to just impart some stuff that we've learned along the way. And but I think that's it.
Love yourself, guys. We love you.
Yes, fake till you make it, baby.
Fake it till you make it.
And then I am sexy.
Well, yes, please follow us on Instagram at Sextras Podcast. Email us if you have any good stories, any questions, anything to add.
Anything to talk to us about.
Yes. And our email is sextraspodcast@gmail.com.
You can subscribe, rate, review, share it with everyone you know.
Share it with everyone you know.
Yes.
And share it with yourself, because that is the most important thing.
That is self-love.
We will see you next Tuesday, guys.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to Sextras, presented by Honey Jane Wyatt and Maria Jose Hayodatiyi, produced by Mabel Productions.